They expected teeth, claws, ferocity. What they got was a girl. No armor, no weapons, no neural enhancements. Just a slim figure in breathable Earth-standard fiber, standing barefoot on cracked obsidian terrain, blinking softly as the announcement boomed above her. Apex trials commencing in 10 seconds. Around her, monsters shifted. 15 species, all killers, all from war worlds and feral planets. Some oozed toxins, others were built like siege machines. Fangs, tusks, exoskeletons. They roared, screeched, beat their chests and hardened their carapaces. The girl did nothing, not even flinch. A Cernak, 9 feet tall and plated in bone, stomped beside her and spat. "You will die first, softling." She looked at him once, then away like he didn't matter. The timer hit 0, begin. Immediately the arena became chaos. Claws flashed, blood spilled, terrain shifted. The AI altered gravity, added obstacles, sent drones to chase the contestants into conflict. And through it all she stood still. Some assumed she was in shock, paralyzed, broken by fear, but her breathing was measured, her pulse calm. Her eyes moved fast, calculating. She watched the first 2 kills, noted who attacked first, who responded with fear versus instinct. She memorized how each predator moved, how their species' instincts clashed with ego, how they made decisions under stress. She wasn't planning how to kill them. She was learning how to let them kill each other. 5 minutes in, 3 were already down. By 10, the arena's air stank of blood and power surges. The Cernak, still hunting, paused, looked back. She hadn't moved a step. He roared and launched toward her, claws swinging. She did nothing, because he didn't make it. A Scorian, all blades and reflexes, intercepted him in mid-pounce. Not to save her, to eliminate competition. They collided midair, slicing and cracking bone. She turned slightly, adjusted her stance, and watched. 2 more dead. 12 remain. The AI commentator paused, confused. Earth contestant has made no tactical movement. Awaiting engagement, she ignored the voice. Instead, she crouched slowly, knees to chest, and placed one palm on the dirt, closed her eyes, and listened. She counted vibrations in the ground, impact patterns, air shifts, frequency of certain footfalls. She mapped everything, where the Scorian circled, where the Drakh lunged, where the Verthax tried to use cloaking. She even tracked the AI's pattern, how it dropped terrain hazards and where. She was building a simulation, not from data, from instinct, because she wasn't just from Earth. She was born on a Tier 6 Deathworld, raised in storms that ate satellites, forests where predators evolved weekly, a planet where stillness wasn't weakness, it was survival. A Hudrock spotted her. 4 legs, 6 eyes, acid spit, it charged. She moved for the first time, 1 step left, not a dodge, a redirection. The Hudrock stepped on a pressure plate she'd seen blink twice 5 minutes ago. The AI had armed it. Explosion. Hudrock gone. She didn't smile. She crouched again. 11 left. A Vrosk scout tried to snipe her from the ridgeline. Camouflaged, smart, she ducked before the shot. Not because she saw it, because she felt it. Wind shifted 0.2 seconds too early. Heat shimmer bent. She dropped flat. Let the shot hit the dead Hudrock's carcass behind her. No reaction. She waited 10 more seconds, then moved 2 steps sideways. The Vrosk thought she was running, fired again. Another trap detonation. He'd targeted the wrong slope. She didn't celebrate, she just stood up again. The AI stuttered. Earth contestant has survived 10 minutes with 0 engagements. Status anomaly flagged. Monitoring. But the predators weren't. They were starting to see her, not as prey, as problem. The arena shifted again. Walls rose. Pits opened. The AI began forcing convergence. That was the rule. If a contestant remained too passive, the game forced conflict. But she had already predicted the reshaping, based on patterns from the previous 3 trial games. She ran. Not from enemies. Toward blind spots. Places where her scent would overlap with another predator's, where noise bounced back, where vision would fail due to light refraction. She wasn't hiding. She was baiting. 2 more engaged near her trail, mistaking each other's signs. She climbed not high, just enough to watch. Watched a Porthar gut a Relian with a gurgled hiss, then die moments later from venom it didn't detect. 9. She exhaled. She wasn't winning by chance. She was designing losses. Every step, every pause, every still moment was deliberate. The apex predators weren't dying because they were weak. They were dying because they believed she was. The arena AI was confused. It wasn't built to lose track of anything. Not in a hyper-monitored kill zone. Not in the apex trials. Especially not when one participant wasn't using active camouflage, neural dampeners, or shielded tech. But somehow the human girl kept vanishing. Not off the radar, just irrelevant to it. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't invisible. She simply moved when no one was looking. And when they looked, she froze. Her stillness wasn't a lack of action. It was a weapon. Even the predators started to notice. The remaining contestants began whispering over proximity comms. The few species that could form alliances did, not against each other, against her. The girl who'd killed no one, fought no one, spoke to no one, and yet, 5 dead after following her, 3 more who never came back. A reptilian huntkin from Rotax Prime began tracking her trail. It used pheromone bursts and heat signatures. It mapped her path across the zone. Simple zigzags, soft soil prints, too simple. It advanced cautiously, pressing low, talon-scraping rock. Then it slipped, not from terrain, from logic. She'd left a decoy trail, a false path of timed heat discharges using 2 fragments of her tunic, placed near decaying corpses to mask the time stamps. The Rotax fell directly into a crevice the AI had opened 30 seconds earlier, one she shouldn't have known about. But she had been watching the sky, not for threats, for satellite shadows. She knew when the AI triggered terrain reshapes based on microshifts in orbital sensors. The Rotax was impaled. No fight, no scream, 8 left. She crouched behind a jagged root cluster, eyes closed, listening again. Far off, a burst of screeching from the Zreli twins, 2 telepathic apexes that had tried to mind-scan her. It didn't work. Instead of thought, they found something else. Noise, layered, stacked, incongruent memories, music overlapping math, a war veteran's last breath, a baby's laugh, a poem, a scream, rain on steel, a mother saying goodbye. They recoiled, screeched, lost focus, and the Mixquarn ripped their skulls open from behind. 6. She moved, not to attack, just to be seen. The Mixquarn caught her movement, loped after her. She let it chase. Through the bone pits, through the scent fields of previous kills. It sprinted. She slowed. It gained. Then she vanished behind a thermal mirage. The Mixquarn charged forward and caught a burst of its own acid trap, misfired earlier and now reset by the AI. It screamed as its armor melted, flesh hissed, it collapsed. She didn't watch it die, she'd already pivoted. 5. Now the arena changed again. The AI triggered final convergence. All remaining predators were marked. Their locations broadcast. No more hiding, no more waiting. She was placed dead center. Everyone else was coming to her. 3 began moving immediately. The 4th paused, a Kelari pack leader. He watched her from 2 kilometers out, zoomed in on her image. She stood still again, not frozen, not defensive, just present. He hesitated. Something's wrong, he said to no one. He reviewed her path. No kills, no chases, no traps triggered. And yet the scoreboard didn't lie. Only 5 remained. She was one of them. The other predators didn't care. They charged and walked into each other, not coincidentally. She'd baited the AI into forcing this exact convergence. She'd remained central for the past 6 minutes. She knew the system would prioritize central threats for convergence arcs. She used the AI's own logic to make the monsters attack each other, by ensuring their routes crossed directly. The Kelari watched it happen. 1 predator ripped into another. 2 more launched neuro screams at overlapping targets. The carnage lasted less than 20 seconds. By the end, only 2 left her, and the Kelari, she didn't move. He approached slowly. No weapons, no hostility. He circled. Then asked a question no predator in the Apex trials had ever asked. Why haven't you killed anyone? She looked at him, expression unreadable. Why would I? To survive. She blinked once. Then I already did. He stared at her, then understood. She hadn't come here to fight. She came here to win differently, not through dominance, but through design. She didn't conquer her enemies. She let their instincts do it for her. And now, there was only him. And he knew if he charged now, if he lunged, he'd already lost. Because every path to her ended in the same way, obvious. And humans, they were never obvious. He raised his arms. I yield. The AI paused, silence. Then, contest over, human wins. The arena didn't cheer, not immediately. There were no roars, no victory anthem, no ceremonial declaration of dominance. Because no one understood what just happened. One by one, the judges leaned forward in their observation booths, reviewing live feeds and backups, searching for anomalies. They found none. No rules broken. No external interference. No unseen technology. And yet she had won, against creatures bred for blood, evolved for murder, trained for survival on planets that made death a daily routine. The girl from Earth stood in the center of the battlefield, breathing evenly, the last survivor of the apex trials. A child of a Deathworld who had moved less than any contestant in the event's entire history, and still emerged untouched. The broadcast exploded across galactic networks. Human outmaneuvers apex kin. Deathworld tactics redefine predation. Did we just see the end of the trials? Conspiracy theorists raged. There must have been tech. She was modified. The AI was corrupted. But when Earth submitted her neural scan logs, heart rate, brain activity, and chemical markers, one truth was undeniable. She never left baseline. No performance enhancers, no overrides, no kills. The predators had beaten themselves because she let them. The Kalari, the only one spared, was brought in for debrief. He spoke only once. She played us all, not through strength. Through patience, we never stood a chance. The Galactic Apex Council demanded a meeting with the Terran delegation. Earth sent a simple file, no diplomat, no translator, just a phrase. If stillness unnerves you, wait until you see what happens when we move. The arena masters held an emergency summit. The trials had been a tradition for 12,000 years, meant to crown the most dangerous natural species in the known galaxy. Now the title belonged to a girl who didn't lift a weapon. Sponsors pulled out. Broadcast syndicates rebranded. Some called it evolution. Others called it humiliation. The apex predators began asking questions they never asked before. What is a human, really? How did they develop such restraint? What else are they hiding? Because it wasn't just that she'd survived. It was how she made them act like prey. Not once did she raise her voice. Not once did she show aggression. She simply allowed every other creature's instinct to outpace its reason. They realized too late this wasn't dominance. This was psychological annihilation. On Deathworlds, humans didn't just survive predators. They learned how to predict them, outlast them, redirect them. And now the whole galaxy had witnessed the result. For the first time since the trials began, no one applauded the winner. They feared her, not because she killed, but because she didn't need to. The girl was offered interviews, contracts, genetic study, weapon research. She declined them all. In her only public message, she said one thing. If you have to kill to win, maybe you weren't winning anything worth having. Then she vanished. Some said she was taken by Earth's intelligence core. Others claimed she was a myth, an experiment, a ghost story for apex species. But one detail remained consistent in every report. She never ran, never looked over her shoulder, because she knew predators look for motion. But humans, we watch for patterns. And by the time you notice us, we're already rewriting the rules. The apex trials were suspended indefinitely. The council didn't say it outright. No species officially canceled them. But the arenas were shuttered, the betting systems dismantled, and the blood-soaked sponsorships quietly dissolved. No one wanted to compete anymore. Not after her, because what she did couldn't be replicated, couldn't be trained, couldn't even be fully understood. She'd broken the myth. That dominance belonged to claws, fangs, and venom. That apex meant savagery, that a predator only ruled by making everything else bleed. She didn't dominate the predators. She made them expose themselves, and in doing so exposed the truth of what apex really meant: restraint, calculation, timing, traits they once mistook for weakness, and now feared more than violence. Across the galaxy, the aftermath spread like radiation. Combat schools recalibrated their curriculum. Emphasis on patience, on stillness, on non-reactivity. Terran military instructors were requested by dozens of factions. Earth declined most requests, quietly, firmly, but the message was clear. We didn't send her to win, we sent her to teach you what we are. On the outer edges of the Carthai clans, a young warrior challenged an elder for leadership. When asked what his strategy was, he said, "I will wait, then I will move when it hurts most." They called it the human principle. On mining worlds, prison ships, research labs, everywhere humans had once been underestimated, things began to change. Where once we were mocked for being soft-fleshed, slow-breeding, too curious, we were now watched, studied, feared in silence. Because every species knew the next human they mocked might not fight back. They might just wait 20 minutes, and when they finally moved, everything would already be over. They tried to interview her again, years later, when the dust settled, when enough time had passed that the galaxy could pretend they weren't still haunted by her silence. A journalist from the Council's media branch tracked her down, found her on a forgotten colony, teaching children simple math, basic survival, pattern recognition. The journalist approached quietly. "You changed everything," he said. She didn't look up from the lesson. "Did I? No one plays the trials anymore." "Good. Some species think you made war obsolete," she chuckled. "They said the same thing when we invented fire." The journalist hesitated. "Were you trained to do it?" "All of it." She finally looked at him. "No. Then how?" "Because I come from a world where stillness isn't surrender, it's a trap. You think we rest because we're weak. We rest because we're waiting." He lowered the recorder. "There's one question I've always wanted to ask." She waited. "Why did you really do it?" Her answer was immediate. "Because they needed to see." "See what?" She smiled, thin and quiet. "That humanity doesn't survive because we're strong. We survive because we understand fear, yours and ours, and we don't rush. We wait for the world to move too fast. And then, we don't just adapt. We rewrite the ending." Across the stars, the arenas rusted. No one cleaned them. No one returned. Because in their silence something remained. Not blood, not glory, not conquest, just the memory of one girl, standing still, unmoving, while every apex predator in the galaxy proved one truth: they had never been the apex.